Three quick questions, and we'll see any one of you that would like to answer that. The waste isolation pilot plant that is located, it's the obvious geologic repository for nuclear waste located in New Mexico. As part of this partnership with the state of New Mexico, they have the ability to inspect the transportation canisters they enter the state. That's what I understand the agreement was with DOE. Would this model actually help the confidence of your constituents that the spent fuel rods can be transported safely?
If I may. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anything that we do that allows the state to have control is something that is critical. So not only consent, but control, the ability to inspect, the ability to sign off on would be absolutely necessary. It's not something that you can say, we trust the federal government and all of its different agencies at a different time with a different administrator, et cetera. So the state would be critical to be involved with that. And obviously, you do not want to ignore the people who live there in that process. And so it would behoove us to make sure that Nye County not only has a seat at that table, but has input to it. So if it comes, it won't be pretty if we don't have the say.
Right, Bill, maybe it's a follow-up question. Are there other transportation priorities that Congress and DOE should examine to, again, continue to increase this confidence in the people in the transportation? Are there others?
Well, I've got the mic. Joe Hardy for the record. If you consider, and I've heard some people say, depending on how big the cask is, for instance, you would have to do highway hardening. So you have a highway that is strong enough to maintain the truck traffic. You would have to look at where that is going to be, and you would have to extend what we call I-11 to a place because the current road system probably would not be able to sustain the loads that would be needed if there's any truck carrying at all through Nevada.
Okay. The third wrap-up question that I have with Congressman Murphy, we went over to the Hague in France to see the recycling facility about 5 years ago, I assume it was. But one of the things that I recall very vividly was they were talking about the cost of the recycling was so expensive. And they said that because they are such a demand in France of using the nuclear rods that they could afford to make that happen, and the fact that their utility bills are considerably higher than ours in America. So they were warning us, I suppose, or alerting us as this cost of the spent fuel, of the recycling is an expensive process. Can any of you enlighten, is there, other than advancing technology, pursuing it so more innovatively, that we might be able to find that? But I heard you earlier say there is none occurring in this country, and that's a shame. But what is the current? Is it cost-driven?
I think it's primarily cost-driven. The reprocessing and the people that we've talked to said that it's going to be much more expensive than generating power from a straight, new electric power plant. But you're disposing of a problem. And under the original legislation, as I understand it, the ratepayers are paying this 1/10 of a mil per kilowatt hour, anyone who uses electric power, and that's being paid for the disposal of the fuel. And so in the original enabling legislation, the idea always had been is the people who use electric power are going to pay for the ultimate life cycle of it, which I also believe should be done for other things such as solar, wind, and everything else. But it certainly will be more expensive, but it solves a problem that we've had for a long time. And I think the cost of it would be minimal.
Just illuminate a little. Are we talking, when people use these terms, a lot of expensive, is this twice the cost, 3 times the cost?
In what I've seen, it's probably close to twice the cost.
Twice the cost.
And then, but also in the new technology, you destroy the plutonium and generate electric power, which gives you additional revenue. So there's some offsetting. And I'm not an expert on the economics of reprocessing.
Thank you very much. You go back.
Gentleman's time expired. Chair now recognizes